friends. Welcome to episode 156 of The Rewind. If this is your first or your 156th show that you've listened to, Draq and I want to thank you for joining us on our adventure here. This show wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for such a quality community. So from the sub-cockles of our hearts, you have our deepest appreciation. If you're here for current events about Pantheon, Rise of the Fallen, and you can't follow every stream, developer Q&A, or newsletter.
What's a newsletter?
You are in the right spot, and I promise we will get to it as soon as we stop gushing about EverQuest 2, Anashti Sewell, the Origin server.
This is a little section we like to call our gaming weeks. Why? Because, well, we're pretty unoriginal and we don't have a better idea.
Mana Rohan, get on that bumper.
Yeah, we need a serious inspiration from a bumper. So this that's how bad it is right now. But this week, very exciting news. We are over 2,000 followers on Twitch. So thank you very much.
So awesome.
Yes, it's amazing. Thank you so much for following us and supporting us on Twitch. I've been streaming the Twitch channel for a couple of years now, and when the Twitch channel started, when I started with the Twitch channel, it was a little bit over 1,000 followers. So I feel like I'm owning the Twitch channel now. Like there's almost
it's
more
officially yours.
There's almost more followers that have followed since I've taken over than since Minus was in charge. So that's really exciting. Also this week we have been playing a little bit of EQ2 Origins and Anashti Sewell.
Gosh.
We've been having a fantastic time. I'm
loving it.
They've really slowed down the XP rate, and they've really just like it really feels like old school EQ2. I know that we were a little disappointed about the way that they launched it, but it's really been a lot of fun.
I'm really enjoying being low level, having gear that only has like one strength on it. Like that's how it should be. I know, eventually it went to this place where it had hundreds of thousands of hit points and, adds 70 stamina or 70 strength to one piece of armor. Gets a little out of hand, but, honestly, if I wasn't getting any better, like if I was getting 5 levels and wasn't seeing a vast increase from expansion to expansion, then it would be the same. That's, hopefully when we only hit, to Echoes of Fador or wherever it's going to eventually stop, that it doesn't get too out of hand and we're still feeling kind of nostalgic about it.
And it's super cool. We're in Blackborough right now, which is one of my favorite zones, and we dropped quite a bit of time in it over the last week and a half or so, and I just dinged 13. So it feels really good to just invest in a level range and not just like blow past everything. It's been so fun. Also,
I remember when I was leveling up on Varsoon, like we would go to Blackborough once, wipe out every mob in the whole thing, and be done. We'd be on to the next. We'd have gained 10 levels, and we're on to the next thing. This one, we've spent some time in Blackborough, which just reminds me of our time in 99. Oh, Blackborough just brings back so many memories. I know it doesn't look the same, but honestly, Draq, like eventually they start really hammering these zones, and they're like almost exact replicas of what you remember. You remember when we ran through the Unrest that they did, the kind of their homage to Unrest?
Yep.
I mean the hedge maze was there.
Yep.
The house, had fireplace.
The hags were there. The whole thing was there.
Yeah.
No,
so really good, so good, and it only gets better. Like with each expansion, after that crappy Desert of Flames one that's coming next, but after that one, it's a lot of fun, and I'm just really excited to see where we go with it.
Yeah. So
Prismatics, baby.
Prismatics, we're on the way. So if you are playing EQ2 and you do want to join us, make sure you hit the Discord. We're always, hanging out in there as we're playing EQ2. Also this week, if you missed it, the VOD is up. We played Pantheon with the After Dark crew with Bronson. We got Bronson to come join us. We rolled brand new summoners because the summoners and rangers launched. And of course, I'm a caster at heart. I love all the caster classes. So we all made level 1 summoners and we terrorized everything. We was just like summoner pets everywhere. It was hilarious, and Bronson was so cool. He hung out with us. He stayed afterward and talked with us. He's part of the crew now. I mean, we're gonna have to get him an After Dark shirt or something.
For sure. We'll make him some swag. That's absolutely fine. Just super fun to just go around that wizard enchanter pond. I guess now it's summoner pond as well, and just completely destroy everything. 6 summoner pets rolling out. Oh, so funny! Just that was such a great group. I really enjoyed that stream. I can't wait to see what we're able to do going forward. We'll still be rolling with 6 summoners, so definitely tune in on Monday nights at midnight Eastern Standard Time, and see what Wrecking Crew 6 summoning pets can do for you.
Yep, it's gonna be awesome. So we'll see you next week. All right. We have an adventuring party. I feel like we're still in the tavern. We're still forming. We're getting the people together. We've got the OOC in chat. We're looking for more people. But we have 2 people that are solidly committed to this adventuring party. We have Grogu, the human warrior, and we also have Anton Dovidatis, the Dark Mirror Shaman Glyph Keeper. Now, normally, Dovidatis would probably throw me for a huge loop, but luckily for me, Dymlos sounded it out on our rewind little chat that we have going. So you can thank Dymlos for that, Anton, and everyone else. If you'd love to support us, the Patreon is patreon.com/staticgrouplive. It's always appreciated, but never required. Let's adventure on.
This week in Visionary Realms News and Notes.
All right, Pantheon news and notes. As usual, we have no shortage of Pantheon information. The information is coming hard, it's coming heavy, and there is a lot of it. We got a QA this week, and we also got Joppa streaming this week. So we're going to start with the QA. We're going to kind of go through that, and then we'll kind of switch over to the Joppa stuff. Just so everyone knows, we record on Tuesdays, and then we post this on Saturdays. So any of the Joppa streams between Tuesday and Saturday, not covered. We'll get those next week.
I can't believe how much stuff is out. Like between the Q&A, we got notes, people. We got crazy amounts of notes. Draq has put in some really, really hard-hitting work. And, we've listened to it all. I can't say I've listened to every minute of Joppa stream like Draq did, but I certainly listened to the whole Q&A. I just really like when Savanya and Joppa get together. Like, I know there are people that are in those comments that are just like, the girl is so, I don't know what words they use, saucy or whatever stupid stuff that they're saying. It just pisses me off. But, Savanya, if you're listening, Joppa, if you're listening, which I know you're not, you guys are doing a great job. I like your witty banter that you do. It has a flow. And if people are just tuning in one time and then they hate it, well, that's on them. They need to get with the program because it's funny.
Get with the friggin' program.
Yes. Yes, Draq, you hit it on the nose with that. Love it.
All right. So let's start in on this QA. So there was a question about shamans. The shamans wanted to know, hey, since the summoners got pet updates, do the shamans get pet updates? And the answer is no, you get nothing. Summoner,
not surprising.
The summoner pets and shaman pets are totally different things, and you're probably not going to see an update till Halnir's drops, if at all.
Hopefully they'll get those spells in. I mean, it can't be too terribly difficult, right? Like they've already got the 10-1 squared away. Should be able to get the 20 and 31 squared away pretty nicely too. So hopefully they get that in. But obviously this last 6 weeks was focused solely on Summoner and Ranger. So there were no updates to any of the other classes, which is fine. They needed to focus on that and make sure it's a little balanced. I mean, Summoner OP, but whatever. It's fine.
There was talk about a general bar. So we have the limited action ability bar, we have the utility bar, and now there's going to be at some point a general bar. And that's going to have things like tracking on it, maybe you're going to be able to drag some macros to that thing, maybe some potions or some clickies, stuff like that. Stuff that wouldn't be an ability, but also things that you would need to map to a hotkey. So are you excited about yet another bar?
This bar is certainly needed. Unless I don't even know how else they would do this, honestly. So I'm not even going to try to think of an idea for Joppa. But yeah, no, you got to have it. You got to have potions. You got to have, this is the perfect spot for the 5 fingers because it can't be on the abilities bar. Like, stop clogging up my stuff with a jump. Healers can't have it on there because they're too busy healing with all the stuff and curing and all that. So it'd be nice if it was on the general bar. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, honestly, I don't even like having to open up my inventory to click food and drink, right? Like, I can't even imagine how annoying it would be once we get into like potions and clickies. I'm definitely not going to want to open my inventory for that. So general bar needed. Next up, Rangers do not get stealth. They have the pets that explore, and so we're not mixing that with stealth. Congratulations, you're not broken.
I mean, maybe you'll get invisibility at some point, but yeah, stealth, no, that's, I don't know. I guess that is kind of a Ranger thing, but, let the rogues have something.
Let the rogues have just this one thing.
Give them the one thing. They get so little.
They're getting trashed right now. Everybody's being a ranger. There are no more rogues left. It's fine. Let the rogues have something. Next up on the list, no more pumpkins, commas, chapters, verses, books, seasons. Well, no, there's still seasons. But going forward, each season is going to have a name. And every season will be uniquely named, and that's how they will identify it. But we're not numbering it. We're not pumpkining it. We're not commenting it. No more of that stuff. That's all out the window. This current season.
Ding dong, the witch is dead. The wicked witch, the evil witch. Get out of here, pumpkins and commas. You're done for.
I feel like we may have played a part in this because we kind of.
I hope we did. It was dumb.
Yeah, it's pretty harsh. The current season that we're in right now is called Summoners and Rangers Into the Fray, just so you know.
I still don't really like the word seasons either. I know other games have used that and it's not very popular, but if we just stick with the title. We don't need to call it season whatever. Let's just call it Into the Fray or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. All right. Rangers, they're now beckoning things, and people have lots of questions about beckoning. So beckoning is not a pet system. Beckoning is like an ability that you use where an animal is, quote, beckoned, and then they appear, and then they do one action or one ability or something happens when you beckon the thing, and then it attacks or then it does its thing, and then it disappears, it goes away. And so Joppa is working on getting all those animations in, and the skills are already there. So one of the skills you have is Beckon Bear. And the bear is summoned, the bear stuns the enemy, and then it disappears. Currently, the bear doesn't appear, but it does do the stunning. So that part is at least it.
Well, you got to wonder why they're questioning it when they cast it. Nothing happens. They're not always watching all the Joppa streams or anything like that. I know they're hopefully here for it with us, but if you cast a spell and nothing happened except maybe some swirls happened above the mob's head, of course I'm going to question what it does. Like, there's really nothing happening. Bad that the bear couldn't come in.
I guess Beckon Bear and nothing friggin' happened. Didn't do anything. Yeah,
There's the bear. It should be there mauling stuff.
Yeah, people might not even know it. It's because people don't actually cast interrupts or pay attention to interrupts. So, like, people have no idea.
Beckon Bear's broken. I can't see anything. It's broken.
Oh. The next question. This is the question of the QA right here. Are 6 summoners OP? Well, we're going to put that to the test.
No, we already did. You have 6 levels in, and we already know the answer is yes. We could have absolutely taken down that skeleton. What's his name again? Zarin? I can't ever remember. I don't care.
Yeah, the skeleton sorcerer.
Yeah, that's wandering out amongst the hogs and bears and all that stuff.
Yep.
We could have absolutely taken him down. If we would have all started with fresh mana and just constantly summon pets, we would have absolutely whittled them down. They're absolutely overpowered. It's a done deal. 6 is unbelievable. That might be the best group in Pantheon right now.
I think the hardest part may be behind us because we're going to hit the Undyne pet in a couple of levels, and then we're each going to have 2 pets. So that's going to be 12 pets.
It's unbelievable.
In one group.
Plus they all heal at 10?
At 10, they heal. And they not only heal pets, but they heal player characters. So if you take damage, the pets will heal you.
We are going to absolutely destroy Manor at 10. It's just going to be a thumping. Everyone should join us on that one. It's going to be a lot of fun.
That's going to be super fun. And all that to say is, from what I'm reading and seeing everywhere else, the Rangers are even more OP than the Summoners are. That's what everyone else is saying. I don't know about it, but that's what they're saying.
We'll have to have Theric on again. We'll see what he has to say about it. I know he got on. I guess we shamed him enough to do a little bit of...
You are welcome, Pantheon community. We are keeping Theric engaged with the game.
Thank you. You're
yeah,
welcome.
in between him making board games, you know.
Right. He's not stuck behind the machine yet. Could be.
All right. Next, they talk about a little bit of taking some time off, some summer vacation time. The devs need a break. They talk about taking a week. I think that's, all in all, I think that devs, even in the grind of making a game in the critical time, I think a week is more than, if you're only taking a week of vacation, I think that's pretty good. I want more than 1 week of vacation every year. So this
1 week a year is definitely not enough.
Right. So
I would be very upset if I worked for a job that didn't have at minimum 2. At minimum.
I mean, I'm sure they probably get personal days and stuff, weddings, because Bronson was talking about going to a wedding too. But just being able to take a week away and just drop Pantheon and do vacation stuff, I think it's crucial. This is the time they're picking in this season. So this season is actually going to last an extra 2 weeks. It's going to be 8 weeks total. So August 17th is the next season. Champions also, remember, get 3 weeks in this season because they're getting the first week and then also the last 2 weeks. And so I'm not exactly sure. I don't know if they mentioned it or I missed it, but they didn't say exactly how the extra weeks were going to work. Is everybody going to get that? Is the VIPs going to get it? I have no idea.
Either way, I know you mentioned it in you texted it out of last week's episode, but sorry for the pill swallowing thing. I felt real bad after they kind of clarified that, but that's, that happens when we record a little early. We've got lives too. So this is really the only time that works out for both of us for an extended period of time that we can get together and do this. But we'll always, Draq's going to be good about making corrections. He listens to it right before he puts it on, make sure we don't sound like fools. But that was definitely made me sound like a fool. So I apologize to anyone that may have gotten offended from that. But, it's still true, slippery slope if we get there. But to hear that it doesn't sound like it's permanent now, even though it was worded the way it was worded in that announcement, it absolutely sounded like it was a permanent thing. But it does now. It doesn't sound like it is. So I take everything back. All the hostilities. Sorry, the frustration. My bad.
Fall on your sword, Dymlos. Fall on your sword.
I totally am.
Next, we're talking about pets. There's the 4 pets, and then Job actually said, well, you're going to have to discover endgame what levels the pets you get. And that he was really cagey about it. But luckily for us, we're now past the launch day. So we can tell you because we can look at spell vendors and see what levels we get pets. So you get the Earth pet at 2. That's your tank pet. You get the Undyne or Water pet at 8. That's your healing pet, which you can also have out with 1 other pet. So you can pair the Water pet with any other of the other 3 pets and keep 2 pets out at the same time. The Zephyr pet, which is the air pet, you get at 14. And the Fury pet, which is, of course, my favorite, the Fire pet, you get at 18. What is it with VR and making you wait on your freaking fire spells? What the heck, Dymlos? What the heck?
I think it's, since they've literally given you everything you've ever asked for with the wizard, that this is the one thing that they're keeping from you on purpose to titillate you with having to wait for that fire. So yeah, suck it up, Draq. You get the fire at 18. We'll be there soon enough. I'm really excited about the air pet. I mean, that was the best pet in EQ2. So maybe it'll be a really great pet now.
Yeah, no, I mean, depending on what the air pet does, usually the air pet comes with some kind of stun. So
Exactly.
mixing the tank pet with the stun pet on those casters in the manor, like that's gonna be money.
We'll have 3 of each one plus 6 water pets. It's gonna be unbelievable. Or did I say 3? 2 of each one plus 6 water pets. It's gonna be crazy. Absolutely nuts.
It's gonna be nuts. All right. We talk a little bit about faction. It's gonna be a
Faction is
very
good.
EQ approach to faction, basically ripping it off. As you kill things, everything's going to be attached to faction. You gain faction with these things, you lose factions with these things. Unless we're talking about basic animals and that type of thing won't have faction. But if you kill a sentient being, it's going to be attached to faction. It's going to have consequences. You can kill the Quanos guards or the ogre guards or whatever guards you want if you can kill them, but you're going to get faction hits and you're going to be hated by somebody.
Don't worry, Draq. Nature will always hate you. That's something you can always count on. Nature will hate you.
I've killed a ton of druids in my life. And I mean a ton of druids. Like, I have farmed druids on every continent of EverQuest. So I can't wait to be hated by druids once again.
You remember when we camped druids when I was a druid?
Yes.
And somehow we were able to fear kite on those druids so that I never took the faction hit, but still got the XP for it. Hilarious. It was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, it was so much fun.
Unkempt Druid Dymlos.
Unkempt Druid. Also, though, you can declare war on a faction. So, for example, you could declare war on Dimmoth. And then if you do that, and that will make it so you can at least get into town and begin to do quests that can change your faction to become greater. But when you declare war, it's like a big thing, and it massively shifts your faction. And I'm assuming there's going to be some kind of cooldown or something on it. Kind of sounds cool, but also, I don't know. How are they going to get this in the game? When is that planned? I don't know.
I'm not exactly sure that this sounds cool, Draq. Like, why would I want to declare war on Demeth? I don't want to declare war on an evil place either. Like, what am I going to do against all those guards? And what does it give me? Isn't it more beneficial to be able to bank in all the places rather than just one, like an Ixar? Like that sucks.
So for example, so if you're evil, you would declare war on like Dark Elves or Darkmere, right? So you declare war on the Dark Mirror, and then like maybe Dimmoth would like you then, right? Because the Dark Mirror would now hate you, but the humans would now like you. So that's, I think, the example of why you would want to declare war.
Okay, well that makes a little more sense. And I guess when we only have like 2 real factions in the game right now, it just doesn't really make sense. But yeah, I guess when we are looking in the grand scheme of 1 to 3 continents and a bunch of starting cities and little hovels and things like that, I guess that makes sense. I just don't know why anyone would declare war on Demeth. It just seems like such a petty thing to do.
Yeah, I have no idea. That was just the example that he used. That's
I know. And again, there's only 2 main factions, right? Those guards and the Thronefast guard. So it's like, yeah. I don't know. I don't know what it could be, but it's weird. But I assume, trust in Joppa. He's got some sort of master plan with it that will be fun and will be a great mechanic to the game. So I'm just going to kind of hold onto that for a while. And, I just don't ever feel like I'm going to declare war on anybody unless I have to. But I want to get banking with everybody. I want to go to Ixar land and be able to bank there. I don't want to just be stuck with the good towns or whatever. I want everybody to like me.
I don't know.
That's just what we do as bards, right?
Maybe your bard, probably not your paladin though. So
yeah, someone's gonna hate the paladin, that's for sure.
You're probably gonna have to make a choice there. Joppa also mentioned that he wants charm in the game, and possibly soon. This August 17th patch, the Halnir's patch, the wipe, all that stuff, it is like the list is very long. We're gonna mention some other stuff too, but like he it's very
There's no
TBD.
way.
But
There's just no way.
He mentioned that he wants charm in the game for that patch for enchanters.
Blech. That means we have to make a hard decision on what charm is actually going to be, which I'm scared about.
Right?
I don't want EQ charm. EQ1 charm, bad.
Yeah. Joppa said in the past that it's not going to be as OP as EQ1. It can't be because you can't be the main support class and also do the most damage.
And mana.
And mana. And the best mana regen. Yeah, exactly.
Ugh. Just don't break this, Joppa. Just don't break it. Don't put it in if we can't get to it and it can't be right. Because if it's not right, everyone's going to be real unhappy except the enchanters who are overpowered.
Yep.
They're already great. They do a bunch of interrupts. They do a bunch of fun stuff. They also do damage. They were on the DPS meter on that thing we did last week. So like they do okay even without charm.
Yep.
Encounter only charm. Encounter only charm.
I like the spell steal way better than I like the charm. The spell steal is very
cool. Yeah. You can do anything with that. That's so awesome.
Questions were asked about leashing, like NPCs leashing. People were complaining about the fact that mobs were leashing and they were trying to kite them and they would run away as they were trying to kite them.
I think that's a good thing. You got to babysit them. You can't just like run halfway down to the crossroads and then turn around and pelt it full of arrows for the next minute while it barely walks to you. No. You get to stay close. You get to do one, maybe two things at a time. Stop trying to break the game. You're exploiting. There's a fine line when you're kiting between exploiting and what you're intended to do. So please don't break it.
Joppa did say that kiting is a part of the game and that it was intended. But he also said that leashing will always be a thing in the overland, but there will be no leashing in dungeons. So that's the difference. If you're in a zoned dungeon, underground dungeon or a zoned dungeon, so not Hangor, but like Halnir's, things will not leash in zoned dungeons. They will track you all the way. You should
always be in range of dying, right? Like if something goes wrong, if your snare breaks or your whatever, there should be danger. Like it shouldn't just be, I've snared it. It's now snared for the next 12 minutes. And I can just run and pelt it with arrows. And as long as I don't run into something else, then it's good. You know, it should still be a dangerous way to experience, just like any other grinding.
All right. Another question. Will tracking be useful after everyone knows the game? Yes, absolutely. In EverQuest,
to this day.
In EverQuest, it's still useful. Like, I don't know if you must not be playing EverQuest because it's super useful in EverQuest. Doing the Pegasus spawn without some kind of tracking is like impossible. So you need tracking.
Unless you're exploiting, which, as we know, that's rampant. But, other than that, people that want to do it the right way use tracking.
Not going to let that go. All right.
Never.
So Joppa mentioned rare spawns. He mentioned that in Pantheon, the mobs wander. Like named mobs wander around. So that's a huge deal to have a tracker because it may not be the mob you're looking for, may not be in a spot. It could be wandering around. And that's already happening in Hangor. Some of the named mobs actually move around to different spots. So that's pretty cool.
And I know what someone's going to say. Oh, but I learned all 3 spots that you went to. Well, maybe someone beats you to it because they're using tracking.
Absolutely.
Doesn't matter.
Absolutely. He did also mention tracking in PvP, and my stomach was a little sick over that. But whatever.
I hit the fast forward button. I'm sure it'll be great, but you and I won't be doing it because we're terrible, so it's fine.
We will not be. Certain NPCs can hide from tracking. There will be dispositions that make them invisible on tracking. So that's kind of cool. I love that
that's really cool.
Adding more dispositions, that we're taking advantage of using them. I think we should lean into that heavily because dispositions is so much fun.
I like it. I like it a lot. I think that's very cool.
Job also mentioned that druids get their own, he called it animal trait harnessing. We're going to get into that a little bit more when we go to the Joppa streams, but druids don't actually summon things. They harness animal abilities.
That's good. Last week I called the ranger a hybrid, and it isn't. There are no hybrids in Pantheon, right? Everyone's their own specific class. Maybe some skills are, close to the others, but when we're talking about druids and rangers, it shouldn't be, ranger is not part druid, part warrior. It's 100% ranger. That's its own thing. So the fact that these are different, it should be. It's kind of weird that druids are getting the partial track too. Maybe they have some different way of tracking things, or maybe they are only able to track animals. I don't know, something different. So hopefully they kind of flesh that out, and it's just not just druid and bard get different levels of tracking like an EQ1, which is fine, I guess. But we could go further with this. I think it would be to make them a little more distinct from each other.
Yep. We also have a necromancer mention. So Joppa mentioned that necromancers are going to be completely different than the summoner. That it will have pets, but it is a support / utility class, not a DPS class.
Yeah, good. It should have some DPS, but
selfish
if
DPS.
it's mostly, yeah, great. The Necros, I think EQ1 really had the Necro laid out in Classic. They eventually got away from like being able to do the 2 or 3 second mez, which can save your life in EverQuest, right? Like if you can pause a mob for 6 seconds, and that can be the difference of a wipe or not, right? So, and Necros were really good at that. They had some sort of, not only that, but they could feed mana, all that stuff. They have a lot of utility in EQ1. I think if we stick with that sort of feel, it could still be the same. But eventually, especially like in EQ2, Necro is one of the main damage dealers. So they went way to the opposite side with that other one. So the fact that they're sticking with support utility, that they're going to be there with the Bard and the Enchanter, I think is a really good idea.
I find this to be the most fascinating class, because I think it's such a departure from where Necro is in any other game, except for maybe EQ1. But even in EQ1, as you said, I never really thought of the Necro as a support class. They had some support abilities, but a support class? Not really.
That's because the Necro that we were playing with was actually not very good. He didn't use all the skills, just like I was bitching about last week. He just wasn't using all the skills. I didn't even know that the Necro had an undead charm or a stun or any of that stuff. It was just, let me cast my pet, let me cast my darkness, throw a bunch of dots on, dots, and that's all that the Necro did. And that's how but it's not true. They have a ton from 1 to 50. They have a ton of great stuff, but then eventually that went by the wayside. From 60 on, they became just damage dealers, which is fine. They became the best dotters in the game, and that's fine. But the fact that we're looking at utility, I love this idea. I love that we are making the Necro able to do a lot of stuff, a lot of different things. Maybe they'll be more versatile than the Summoner, which would be very cool.
I think it's going to be very cool. I'm very interested to see how this pans out.
Me too.
Also, not to be left out, we have a Bard mentioned. Joppa mentioned that Bard, he's shooting for Bard to be in the beginning of next year. Now, you need to take that with a massive grain of salt, and don't make any plans, Bards. But that is the plan. Also, apparently he has been working heavily with PVL. They are the driver of all Bards, apparently. They are excited about Bard. They have got lots of ideas about Bard. They have got the Bard plan, and he is working hand in hand with them to make all this music and put it all in the game so it all makes sense. And so far, PVL's knocked everything they've done out of the park. So Bard sounds amazing to me.
I hope that they take forever with it. I hope that they get Druid and Necro in by the end of the year, and then Bard takes them another solid year after that while they're trying to flesh all this stuff out. If it's as cool as Phil from PVL says it's going to be, I trust that man. He has made Pantheon a great game to play with just his music additions and his sounds and all that stuff. It's remember when before PVL you remember what playing Pantheon was like before PVL? No, I don't want to remember what it's like before PVL. It's a PVL only situation, and bless them. And I hope that they really crush this Bard, because I absolutely want to play one. After I get the Paladin to 50, I'm going to be rocking a Bard after that.
All right.
Thank you, Phil, for all you do.
We also have a Harm Touch sighting. Joppa would not release a lot of beans, but he said that it's coming, and it's going to be different than EQ. So,
what do you think this means?
I think that...
Have you given any thought to it? I mean, it just did damage in EQ. So what else could it possibly do?
I'm thinking that maybe some kind of life tap component with it. I think it's going to be on a shorter cooldown and do a lot less damage.
I mean, but that's still, I guess, a little different. That, I guess, technically that is a little different. But why would you even say, no, I'm not going to tell you what it is, and it's just a little different if it's just literally the same thing, just shorter cooldown, less damage? That's not a little different to me. That's the same thing.
I don't know. That's just where my mind goes.
I guess I'm throwing you under the bus for something that I just put you on the spot to think of. But yeah, this makes me think like way outside of the box. Even I know he said just a little different, but I mean, how are you changing it? Are they going to melt? Are you going to? I wonder if it's like maybe a dot that stuns them. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know what it could be, but I'm intrigued to see what it's going to be.
Maybe it enhances your, your blood mechanic, right? Maybe it something like that.
Hey, that's a good thought. Yeah. I guess we'll wait and see.
Right. So you just said it. Potentially, Joppa reconfirmed it. Necro Druid before the end of the year. Maybe. Possibly. Working on it.
Kinda.
Hashtag soon.
TBD. Oh, man, we are hilarious.
Nobody else may think we're funny, but I think we're hilarious.
I think we are absolutely hilarious. So I'm going to laugh at that when it's playing on Saturday. I'm going to be laughing at that
absolutely
at home as well.
We have a Trello board. Have you ever used Trello before?
Draq, I saw this in your notes, and I have no idea what it is.
It's like think of like one of those cork boards, right?
Okay.
In your house where you they have the little safety pins and you push the little things in, but it's dated. So you just throw little ideas to the board and you pin them there, and then you do little updates, and it's just kind of a way to organize information that's super easy between a team.
Hold on. Is this Pantheon Pinterest?
I mean, kind of. It's kind of.
Oh God.
But it's got all the stuff. It's got like the stuff for Hounders. So there's all the stuff that they want to get done for Hounders is like listed there, like pinned there, right? So
it's like there for me to look at. I got it.
You look at it. The devs add things to it.
Gotcha. Okay. Pantheon Pinterest. I'm all for it.
Pantheon Pinterest Trello board. Love it. Last but not least, on the dev stream, they wanted to VR wants to let everyone know that content creators, those that don't already have access to the game, can now apply to get, I'm assuming for free, they can stream Pantheon during specific windows. I actually looked at the thing. Looks like it's like a week period of time. You have to sign up to do a minimum amount of streaming and or make a video. And yeah, it looks kind of cool. I think if I wasn't playing Pantheon, but I was maybe streaming and into MMOs already, that I would totally take advantage of this because free is free.
For sure. I hope that someone takes advantage of it. It sounds like a good program. Free is always the right price. So yeah, new streamers and video makers, content creators, give me your content. I want it.
Yeah. And all of you that are listening, if you have a favorite streamer that isn't playing Pantheon, maybe suggest it. It might be fun.
Do you think we could put it in the notes below?
I think it will be in the notes below.
Boom. Look at us, professionals.
All right, now on to the next section. We like to call this Joppa Says, because when Joppa says it, it's gold.
I'm pretty sure it's a grain of salt, not a grain of gold.
All right, we got a lot of stuff to cover because we got 3 more videos. But I wanted to keep this section a little bit shorter because we had the QA this week, and that was really the major information drop. But there was some really good stuff that Joppa said in his stream for this week. One of the things that was brought up was voice acting. And thank you, Joppa, because he squashed it. Like, there's some stuff that like VR just, it seems like they're holding on to like hope, and they're like, oh yeah, Progeny, maybe we'll get to it someday. Like, it's gonna be someday it'll be fantastic.
Squash.
Not this. Joppa was like, nope, not doing it. There's no bang for the buck there. Like,
We can't afford that shit. Get it out.
get it out. He said, maybe at some point there might be inflections like Breath of the Wild, you know, when you're running around and
Sure.
and people are like, you know, those types of things. But no voice acting. It's just so expensive to do voice acting. It's incredibly expensive.
Now, did it make EQ2 cool as hell? Yes, it absolutely did. And you know that's why this got brought to Joppa.
Yeah.
Right? Like, someone's playing on the Origin server where all of that voice acting's back. We got Christopher Lee, you know, the voice of Saruman, you know, one of the greatest evil wizards of all time, coming in and being the king of Freeport, or whatever his title is, head of Freeport.
Yeah.
So cool that they were able to get that, and some other pretty big names around that time.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a huge waste of time, a huge waste of money.
Huge waste of money.
There's just no way. We got other things to do.
I remember back in the day, and EQ2 is not fully voiced, it's only partially voiced, and I would say it's not even close to 50%. So
Still a lot. Everywhere
a
you
lot.
go, when you're doing quests, they're talking to you.
Right.
It's awesome. I really like it. It's how we learned how to pronounce Kinos. It was no longer, you know, we had 5 years of Quanos because that's what Draq decided it was. And then we talked to someone. I remember walking into, like, leaving my little burrow and going into South Kinos, and someone said, "Welcome to Kinos." And I'm like, where the fuck is that? That's not where I'm at. Oh, Kinos. Oh, there's no U in there. And that makes sense. Kinos it is. Sorry, Draq, you're wrong.
No, I'm still right. None of those people know how to talk. Oh my goodness. All right, on to the next thing. Bows are in. They look pretty good. The string kind of moves. I'm not sure if we got the full pulling back action, but it looks pretty good.
That's super important. That has to be in. The visual mechanic of that is as important as the Ranger class in its entirety, in my opinion. There, I said it.
Boom.
Get those bows working right.
We have 3 types of Rangers, according to Joppa. All the same DPS, depending on the encounter. So some encounters could favor certain types of Rangers, but
mileage may vary.
We have the melee ranger, right? This is the Aragorn of Rangers. He's got his sword. He is in there swinging melee style all the time.
Love you, Aragorn.
We have the Legolas archer, right? He's in the back. He's shooting 4 arrows at the same time. He's counting kills, and he's just ranged archer.
I'm good with that too. That's my preferred. And I know Joppa said that that's his preferred way of being a ranger is with the bow. I totally agree with him. It's so much more fun. After, I know I said this last week, and I'll probably say it ad nauseum, but after 3 years of playing a ranger on EQ1, it switched back and forth a lot. It was melee ranger, then it was bow ranger, then back to melee ranger. Finally ended on bow ranger. Bow was the best. So fun to just sit back there and pick off enemies and be able to see the whole battle, right? Like, I get to stand far enough away that I can see literally everything that's going on. So much better than being like the main tank where you get to see nothing but the mob in your face and a bunch of spell effects. So being able to see the whole battle is a lot of fun. So I'm all for these different types of rangers.
Welcome to the back row with the wizards, buddy. It's a good time back here. And then the last type of ranger is both. You get both.
Both?
Both.
Both?
Yes, you get both. So both melee and archer, you can flip in, you can flip out. You're basically Spider-Man with a bow.
Sweet. I like that.
Also, we have Hawk video, which I will now be showing on the screen. You can summon your Hawk, which is a bat currently, not a hawk, but the Hawk is coming. You can move it up and down. You can move it sideways. You can fly around. You can. It's pretty good.
Honestly, why isn't it a bat at night? Can I have a hawk during the day and a bat at night? Let's make that happen.
I mean, that sounds pretty
Bats
amazing.
are cool.
Yeah, bats are cool. Or the option. Maybe I can have a choices between my.
Yeah, my hawk sees better. My bat sees sonar. You know, it doesn't need to necessarily see it. Maybe it's like one of those
Night
hidden
vision
from track.
Night vision
Yeah.
bat. Yes.
Yep. It sees the mobs that are hiding themselves from track with dispositions because it can use sonar. That's cool.
Make it happen,
Free
Joppa.
ideas, Joppa. Here you go, buddy. I'm just spewing them out. Your ideas are great. My ideas just as great. What up? Just kidding.
Joppa also mentioned that now that we can move the Hawk around and we can move it up and down, left or right, that is making way for swimming. Are you excited that Pantheon swimming is probably farther along than New World is to this day?
As someone who plans on playing a Dark Mer, I absolutely am ready for swimming to be in. This is a must-have. Talk about immersion ruining. You know, that you got to have. And I know Joppa has said multiple times he's so disappointed that swimming is still not in, but, you know, get it right. You know, we don't want to have to go back and fix something that's broken or not working, you know. So get it right and it'll be fine. But yeah, swimming, very excited for that.
Very cool. All right. Joppa's been talking a lot about the Necromancer lately. He wants the Necromancer to have its own specific season, separate from the Ranger and the Summoner. So he hinted at that it might be released close to a time where there are spooky things going on, which would be, you know, October.
Christmas?
No. What kind of
Easter?
What kind of messed up Christmas are you going to?
This is Halloween. It's a nightmare before Christmas.
Do you think releasing
Jack Skellington's going to come and be our necromancer?
Do you think releasing Necromancer in Halloween is near Halloween is A, in the cards, and B, is that cool?
In the cards, maybe. Cool. Overdone.
Overdone. I just don't think it's in the cards. I think, man, they got such a list of stuff that's building up that they want in. It's crazy. So we'll see.
Especially because it was a class that wasn't even supposed to be in. It may have not even made release, and now it's going to be in October. No way. That's 4 months away.
Yeah.
No way.
I wonder if Joppa it just speaks, if he actually looks at the calendar when he's like talking and he's like, yeah, you know, Halloween, no problem. It's like,
I just looked at the calendar right now.
Do you
and
count
it's
the
3
months?
months away. It's almost July.
It is.
There's no way that a class that is currently nothing is going to be built when we don't have a druid. We don't even have a druid yet.
Isn't Halloween though at the end of October? So that would still be 4 months.
I guess that's true. So yeah, okay, 4 months, but still, that's not a lot of time, especially Draq, when we know that races and classes are not playable content that we were promised every now season that comes out. We're supposed to have playable content.
I think
Races and classes are not playable content. So if we're going to make the Necro its own 6-week content, I'm going to be pretty disappointed in that.
I think I've got bad news for you. I think the ship has officially sailed on that. I don't think that's a thing anymore. I think they're producing seasons and they're going to have content, whether it's land content or races, classes content in each season, and that's how it's going to go. And I don't think they're binding themselves to the new land thing anymore.
Well, you know what? I can hold a grudge. And guess what? I am holding a grudge.
You're super good at that.
Yep. if it's literally just one class that comes in for 6 weeks, that's an utter disappointment. Especially when we're talking about Halnir's rolling out with 7 billion things that are going to be put in the game, and then there's going to be 1 6-week with Necro.
He did say that it wouldn't be the only thing that's happening, but again, who knows what's going to happen, right? They have no idea.
They don't know. I don't know. Nobody knows. It's crazy. Why 4 months? 4 months to build a class from scratch? Ugh.
Well, maybe they're working on it. Maybe.
I guess maybe.
All right.
I mean, he did say that it was next to the summoner, very similar to the summoner. So I guess maybe, but
no, he said it wasn't similar to the summoner. It was completely different.
Like they may do way different things, but the bones are in place.
Maybe.
Get it, bones, Necro.
You're hilarious. I would imagine that having pets in makes the necromancer easier. Yes, I think that's, and also potentially charm. If they have charm in, that would also potentially make the necro easier.
A little undead charm. Hell yeah.
Undead charm. All right, not
in 4 months.
Let's add some more stuff to the next season. Let's do that. Joppa said that he wants all the skills up to 35 in for all classes that are in the game for the August 17th Halnir's White Patch.
There's no way. To 35, there's just no chance.
Warriors are only to
That's
10.
So much.
They get to 10.
Are summoners even up to 30? Like, did he really put in 30 levels of summoner stuff?
You know what? I didn't scroll down to the bottom, so I didn't see. We'll have to check that for next week. I'm sure somebody in chat is correcting us right now. Probably Vendini.
I hope so.
But yeah, I don't know how far the summoners and rangers go. All right. Next, Joppa went into a whole dialogue about this, and you're gonna laugh because he wanted to make sure that everyone watching knew that he was very attentive and he is very carefully watching chain summoning pet tanks, and that it's not the best way to tank, and that summoners are only meant to flex into tanking, and it's not a main tank class.
Yeah, well, maybe that's true for one summoner, but 6? Whoops. Well, I guess people are talking as well that the pets themselves are having rando stats. So it sounds like you can summon a really shitty pet, and you have to, so if you're trying to get your best pet out, it's going to take a couple tries of summoning your best pet. So when you lose it, it's a little more devastating than just summoning the next pet and it's the same thing. So that could be some sort of play where, maybe you summon your pet in battle and it's just absolute trash and it can't do anything and it gets you killed. So that's a cool concept, I think. Just rando pets.
Rando pets. Kind of like because in EQ you had to summon your pet and then you conned it, right? And to see what level it was, because it could there was like a level 2 or 3 level split.
Yeah, I don't know if that mattered as much, as much as it does in Pantheon, but we'll see. That's why the testing is happening. We'll see if they address it or if it's something, working as intended. But yeah, like if you get a really crappy pet, but with EQ, it was always within a couple levels. But what if you summon your level 30 pet or just your Titan pet or whatever pet you're summoning, and it's like you send it in, it gets one shot. Well, that's awesome. That's such a cool flip of the coin. I'm sure a ton of people are going to be bitching about it because I'm going to do this. Summoners are OP, so I'm entitled to my pet being the way it should be. What you do in your game is not what I want, so that's wrong.
You like to just complain about everyone else complaining about their class, but you like to complain about your class too.
I rarely complain about the Paladin. The Paladin is feeling real good. I haven't gotten to play it as much as I'd like, but when Halnir's comes up and I get to play it full time, I'm very excited for that. So I'll be doing a lot of testing with that.
Very cool.
And then I'll be bitching, probably.
I would guarantee it. Just to add another thing to the list of things that to put on the list, visual armor for summoner pets. So
cool.
Yeah, so the pets are going to don armor. That's going to update all their stats. It's going to make them more powerful. There's going to be stuff that you as the summoner can summon for your pets, and then there's also going to be drops in the world that you can equip on your pets. So your pro
Love it.
visual armor for summoner pets. I was actually looking at Bronson's stream today, and he was designing some of the armor. It looks really cool.
Yeah, I need to hop on over to that stream and start checking that stuff out too.
Yeah, why aren't you following Bronson? What the heck, man?
I'm a loser. I'm a loser.
Last but not least, the druid pet. The druid pet, Herode, is not a pet. The fox, it's a targeting mechanism. So you kind of put the fox or Herode on a target, like a friendly target, and then you cast a heal, and you get like a bonus to healing or some special effect or something. And then you put it on an enemy, you cast a debuff, and you get like a bonus effect or extra debuff or damage or whatever. Joppa kind of likened it to a moving totem that deals out effects to a target. And that's what the druid Herode pet is. It is not, it's like a familiar that targets things.
That's cool. That's cool. It's like a combo of like Hunter's Mark and some sort of blessing on your teammates. That's cool.
Yeah, I think that's a fun mechanic.
Yeah, that'll be fun to mess around with.
All right, that was a lot of Pantheon news. Hopefully you'll be able to digest that. Make sure you tune in next week because the hits just keep on coming. There is so much Pantheon information right now.
It's crazy.
The Pantheon community is full of cool projects, new people, and things that are just worth sharing. What's this over here? Look at that. So let's see what we can find in this week's Community Spotlight.
All right, so we have 2 Ben and I videos this week. They're both amazing. So after the rewind is over, don't move on to your next thing until you go into the description, you watch both videos. They're both really short, and comment and like them both. Make sure you subscribe to his channel. He does an amazing job. I've got permission to use a little bit of a clip from his ogre video. We'll watch that now.
Welcome back. It's now time for the telling of the ogres of Gorok. Drums, drums, come with the dawn. Come with the fire of Ruthok's rage. Here comes to those who face down the drums, beating the history of Gravenhold's flock. At the beginning, while Gorok writhed, the spirits of Gravenhold fashioned a weapon of arms, a weapon of flesh, a hulk of strength worthy of brandishing war. Yet it was too great and terrible to wield. Such was the yearning and call to its will. Ogres were born and destined to die, running to ruin and death by themselves. So it was thus the Gravenhold vowed, keeping the power and recklessness veiled. 7 there is, the arms of the deities, great clans of ogres to gather dominion. And yet in that prophecy, borders are set, keeping the clans from slaughtering brothers. Greatness and power are given in stone, set in the runes of the stone of the 7.
So epic. So again, make sure you go check out his channel. The second video is actually a music video. It's in honor of Rangers and Summoners being released. It's just clips of Ben and I being a ranger, doing awesome stuff. But also he has, quote, I guess remastered, remixed, I'm not sure what you call it, one of Joppa's original songs. It's so cool. You have to go check it out in the comments. For Community Spotlight, we also have a discussion about conning and the con system from the Pantheon VIP Discord. So let's get into that now.
Welcome to Community Spotlight. We're going to talk about some things that are going on in the community. So I'm checking out the official Discord. So if I see something in there that is interesting, I'm going to bring it here and hopefully chat with it. This week, all you champions and supporters get a little peek into some of the discussions that we have in the VIP Discord. One that caught my eye and something that I am absolutely frustrated with is the conning system. The conning system in Pantheon right now, I don't get it. I get the colors, I get what they're supposed to represent, but we go as a 6-person group, we go and kill absolutely should be trashing us red stuff all the time. That's where the best XP is. We have to go to the graveyard, which is stuff that's like level 25 at like level 18 and kill stuff there for the best experience. And it's absolutely killable. Like I just there's something going on when if you con something and it is an even con and you get nothing from it, like it gives you very little well obviously very little challenge but also very little XP. The even con and the yellow con and maybe like the light orange con should be the sweet spot. If I con something and it's red and it's deep red, there's no way that a group of people that are my level should be able to take that, in my opinion. Now, Drac, I want to discuss this with you, but like I know we've talked about on stream things like, oh, well, if you're a group of 6, each time you add someone in your group, you can go up a skill level or a con level so that if you're a 6-person group, you should be attacking red things. That just doesn't sit well with me. I don't like it. And I guess that's why we have like chevrons and up and down arrows in some other games and things like that to signify. But like, I just don't feel like if we're 18 and fighting something that's 25, that a group of 18, level 18 should be able to take that. So what's up with the con system, Drac? What is up with that?
I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me either. There's like group mobs and there's single player mobs. It kind of seems to me like the con system is for single players, right? So if a blue mob is something I should be able to handle, a white mob is probably going to kill me. A yellow mob is definitely going to kill me. Orange mobs are going to wipe the floor with me, and red mobs are just going to one-shot me. So it kind of
does that when you're level 1.
Yeah. But
it should be able to stay that way, right?
But for single people, for just me as the wizard, not the group. I don't think it's ever set up for the group because the con system for groups is just it's not functioning that way at all. And so groups like you
I don't
said,
like it.
We constantly kill red things constantly. If
things that we shouldn't even be able to touch.
If we can do damage to it in any fashion or form, we're killing it. Because
I tell you what, it's really dumb seeing like 19 damage, 4 damage.
Yeah.
That's not what I want to see roll by when I hit something.
Right. And that's the best way to get XP though, is to kill something stupidly red, kill it, sit there and maul it to death for 5 minutes with 2 or 3 healers in your group, and then when it dies, you get like a bub and a half. I'm exaggerating, but it's exponentially more than if I would have killed like 4 white mobs, right? And it's
ridiculous.
And that would have taken the same amount of time as killing this one ultra red mob. And so you just sit there and you maul red mobs to death over and over and over again, and do little damage, but you outlast it. And
I don't like it.
I don't like it either. No, it's not great.
It definitely needs to be overhauled. Like I do feel I'm fine with chevrons or arrows or whatever parentheses around its name or whatever. Just get it looking good. So that when I use the C button, which is what this game's all about, right? Like conning mobs before you engage it. When you're in a group, it doesn't matter. No one cons anything. It's worthless. Like you only con when you're alone. This is an MMO. What were you thinking?
I think maybe they need to adjust the XP rates, maybe less. Like you take a penalty for killing red mobs or something. I don't know. You definitely need to take more damage from red mobs, it seems like, as you get higher in level.
It desperately needs to be reworked. Don't sit on this one, VR. It needs to be clear as day. When I push that C button, or there's no reason to have a C button, just turn it into sit or whatever. But it can't be con because it's not showing me anything because everything's literally red.
Now it's time for the weekly schedule. we have an amazing lineup coming up. We got stuff coming soon. We got names being planned for these shows. We're organizing people. It's very fun, very exciting. As soon as we get some concrete stuff on when these shows are going to start, I will tell you. But we also have other things going on. We have the After Dark. That's going to be Monday, midnight Eastern Standard Time. We're going to continue with our 6 summoners. We're probably going to hit the point where we get our water pet, the Undyne pet, and we're going to have 12 summoned pets out at one time. It's going to be hilarious. So you're not going to want to miss that on Monday. Also, on Thursday, we have Chaos Theory. That's Zelik playing and his crew playing WoW Ascension. If you don't know what WoW Ascension is, that's kind of a mix between World of Warcraft and some kind of trading card game, and it resets, and you get to choose skills and custom, and I don't know. It's a whole lot of chaos is basically what it is. So tune in for that. That's going to be great. Saturdays, of course, is the Rewind. You're listening to that now. I do want to throw in a special plug. This Saturday, right after probably soon after the Rewind airs, I'm going to be doing a special Monsters and Memories stream. So that's going to be super fun. Join in for that. And then, of course, on Sunday, Theric is still doing Baldur's Gate 3, and he is churning out those episodes. I'm not exactly sure where they're at, but they're having a ton of fun, so make sure you hit that. All right, here's your MMO/co-op/RPG news. Today we got a little Throne and Liberty and also Blue Protocol. We had such high hopes for these games, but they have kind of been tampered down a little bit. Where are we at today, Dymlos?
Throne and Liberty, or as we like to call it, Hills and Tribes. I don't know how you came up with that name, but it has certainly stuck, and it is very funny to me now. But yeah, open beta, very cool. We're going to get to see it. I will say I did watch a couple videos of some streamers that got early access to it, which was awesome. It looks great. Visually, it looks great. And as Mr. C always says, graphics good, game good. So if the graphics are good, that means that the game must be good, right? Womp, 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 womp. Yeah, so it sounds like, and all the reviews that I've kind of read are just kind of, it doesn't have a soul. Like, the game is visually pleasing. It's cool that you get to turn into a bird. That's a cool thing. You get to use some, grappling hook.
Grappling hook, yeah.
You use a grappling hook to move to different places. You get to use the grappling hook on mobs. That's cool. I'm going to hook up to a mob and swing maybe across the way to get out of a fireball that's coming my way. The ideas are cool, but it sounds like the game is pretty soulless, which is kind of a big part of why I, am backing Pantheon, because, it's not just being a living, breathing world. It's having a personality and charm and, being able to just go explore. But it just sounds like it's going to be a little Elden Ring MMO-ish. And I don't know if that's exactly what I'm looking for.
So we're dubbing this Bless Unleashed Part 2?
We'll see. Honestly, I still kind of want to give it a go. But, in the last beta test, Shepto, our friend Shepto, did it. And he said it looked fine and it was okay. So we'll have to give it a go. He's pretty, lukewarm on just about everything, or hates it. It's either lukewarm or hates it with Shepto. But but yeah, so something I'd like to see. I'd like to get into it, see if it's any good. The gameplay could be cool. But if it's lacking luster to it, then yeah, we'll move on.
I do have some questions. Maybe
I probably don't have any answers, but I'll do my best.
Are they still doing 6-person groups?
To my knowledge, but I cannot confirm.
And have they buried the whole autoplay thing?
From what I understand, obviously I didn't play it, so maybe it's still, but the phone thing, the mobile part of it, all that crap that we didn't want, that's out. So it could be the game. It could be the game, because certainly the next game we're going to talk about, Blue Protocol, is not looking great.
Ooh. All right, well, let's get into it. You like Blue Protocol a lot. Like, this was the game that you were excited about.
Well, I was really excited about an anime aesthetic. I watch a lot of anime. It looked good. It was even kind of actiony, maybe a la World of Warcraft ish, doing raids and that, only just, a group. And the classes seemed cool. The fact that there was no healer is kind of dumb. Like, people want to play healers. There are actually people out there that want to play healers. It's not just all DPS and tanks, or really just DPS. People do like to heal. So that was a drawback. But I thought, if the gameplay is cool, it obviously is going to look great, because that anime style to me is very popping to the eyes. But yeah, these guys, the Bandai Namco Online, they just filed for bankruptcy. So like,
Oof.
it's I guess in Japan, which is where Blue Protocol you can only play. I guess it's poor, like it's doing real bad. But when you're only offering it to one country worth of people, if you brought in North and South America, Europe, there could be some serious players of this game and bring a different feel to it. But yeah, like the fact that a great company like Namco, who's always been profitable, like literally this is the first time that Bandai Namco has not been profitable. That's crazy to say for a video game company, because there's so many ebbs and flows when it comes to this, that an MMO could break such a stable company is heartbreaking.
It's so
So
nuts.
I know, and it had potential, but yeah, they just, I guess the biggest complaints going on right now are that it's too mundane. Like they keep doing the same thing
Right.
over and over and over again, which honestly, that's kind of our thing, Draq. Like
Yeah.
we like doing the same thing over.
Well,
We just talked about that about EQ2. We
True.
want to go to Black Burrow 400 times and kill the same mobs, but I know that we are not the typical gamer.
Yeah, I don't think they mean that way though. I don't think they're talking about grinding. I think they're talking about just like nothing ever changes and everything is exactly the same. I've heard this about both Throne and Liberty and Blue Protocol. And this for me is the line, right? Is not fun. Those are the words that people are using to describe those MMOs. And graphics good, game good only works so far. And you can say what you want about crappy Pantheon graphics. You may not like them. I'm kind of personally warming to them. But you can say what you want about Pantheon graphics, but Pantheon is fun. It is so much fun. Every time I log into Pantheon, we had so much fun playing with the summoners the other day. I'm not going to main a summoner. I'm probably not going to play it other than this one session, but it was so much fun, and Pantheon continues to be fun. The only thing that's holding them back is content, right?
Yep.
But it's fun, and once you get through all the content, then you're like, I want more. But what you do while you're doing the content, it's super fun. I'm really,
and they don't even have like quests.
Yeah.
Like they've got a couple, but they're kind of weird and just there for testing purposes only.
Yeah.
But like when you could put perception pings and actual quests and actual crafting of items. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. But yeah, it's has so much more to go, and it's already fun. It's already a blast. So every time we log in.
I'm really leery of MMOs that are out and being played and they're described as not fun. The release of your game should be super fun time. Like people should be excited. People should be leveling up. People should be like, yeah, I'm the best. I made it to the max level in 3 days, whatever, right? That should be what we should be hearing. That people are having so much fun they can't put it down. And that's not what we're hearing.
Anyway, last but not least, I know I sprung this one on you, Jack, but I definitely wanted to throw in that we recently had a Nintendo Direct. If you, and I know you haven't seen it yet because that's not your thing, and that's fine. But if you like single player RPGs out there, damn Nintendo. This was probably their best Nintendo Direct I can remember. And I've watched a lot of Nintendo Directs. This was so unbelievably good. There were some stupid games, just dance, stuff like that. And people like Just Dance. I'm not hating on Just Dance. It's just not my cup of tea. But I felt after watching this thing, I felt like I just bought a box of Captain Crunch, but not the Captain Crunch, the Oops All Berries. And it was Oops All RPGs. It was unbelievable. It just was like, it opened with an RPG. It opened with a new Mario and Luigi, which we have not had in 9 years. 9 years since they released a Mario and Luigi. And we're about to get another one, a brand new one, not just a remake. And then they talked a little bit about stuff and, some like tactical RPGs and things like that I don't really care about. But then they just started listing them off. We had Fantasian Neo Dimension, who is it's a callback to some Final Fantasy, some people that worked on that. Gonna be a beautiful game. They are remaking Dragon Quest 3, and then they teased for 2025 that they're gonna redo 1 and 2 as well. Those Dragon Quest games are phenomenal, great stories, and it's gonna be in that. If you've seen the game Octopath Traveler, they kind of stylized it as what they call 2.5D. So not 2D, not 3D, but it has some depth to it, even though it's still this like 8 to 16-bit looking sort of thing. So can't wait for that. The one I'm most excited about, Phantom Brave. I love Phantom Brave on the PS2. I cannot wait. It does look a little weeby, a little anime-ish for me, and that's right up my alley. So I'm super excited about that. But on the big bomb, other than Metroid Prime 4, which was the last thing they ended on, and great for Metroid Prime fans, but I'm not a first-person shooter guy. They dropped a new Legend of Zelda game, and it's not like Breath of the Wild style. It's in the style of, they just remade Link's Awakening, and it kind of looks like a little sort of Pokemon-y sort of style, but it's a new Legend of Zelda game. It's called Echoes of Wisdom, and you play as Princess Zelda. Link disappears. There's no Link in this game. And you are Princess Zelda and you summon stuff. So it's going to be very similar to Breath of the Wild, where you're going to be able to summon things. So you have something that floats behind you. It's your own little fairy, and it is able to copy things that you've seen in the world. So if you come across a table, if you come across a box, if you come across whatever, your fairy can copy it, and then you can use that out in the world. You have the fairy copy it to where you're at, and you can jump on the table, and then you can get to a higher platform or things like that. It's gonna be awesome, and it's in that kind of style that recent remake of Link's Awakening was at. That's really cool. But last but not least, I can't not mention Romancing Saga 2. That's going to be a great game if you're into JRPGs like I am. But so that was, like I said, man, this was one of the best Nintendo Directs I've ever seen, and it just was RPG after RPG after RPG, sprinkled in with stupid stuff in the middle, which is fine. I like some of that stupid stuff too, but this was great. So go back and watch it if you haven't seen it. Highly recommend. It's only like 20 some minutes, and it's just great. All great, except for Just Dance.
I mean, you spent like 20 minutes talking about it, so I don't know.
Are you going to watch it?
No.
Did I convince you to watch it?
No,
Yeah,
not even a little bit.
Yeah,
I am a little excited about the Zelda game. My kids love that game. I'm not so much into it. But now
it's going to be good.
Now we're copying stuff. So instead of imprisoning Pokemon in a ball, we're just copying things. Is that kind of how I'm understanding that?
Well, I mean, that's two different games, but kind of. Yeah, you're taking things that you've seen and you're copying it into the world and using it to your advantage. I think it's kind of cool.
The slavery.
And you're Zelda. You're finally Zelda.
The slavery is over. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yeah.
All right, top 5. We are excited to bring you this top 5 because Savanya asked the content creators to create some tips and tricks for new Pantheon players. And there is nothing we like more than tips and tricks and top 5s.
And boy, do we got some tips here for you. We're going to bring back our top 5 from a blog that we did several weeks ago, but we know that no one read that. So we're going to bring it to here. But also, when Draq did this blog, he tried to squeeze everything into this little tiny window, and it was not like my tips were completely worthless because it was way longer than the 3 words that I had to be in that block. So very excited to explain these tips to everybody.
Listen, Dymlos, it's a graphic. You can't write a paragraph for each number on a top 5 graphic. That's not
Just give me my own fucking box. What's the problem here?
So let's go. Each of us will do one. We'll go my 5, your 5, your my 4, your 4. Is that good this week? Is that how we're doing?
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right, perfect. All right, number 5. Always be climbing. So in Pantheon, it's very
Smart.
vertical. You need to be looking up all the time. There's stuff hidden at the top of things. There's gathering nodes hidden at the top of things. There's new areas to explore. There's new enemies. There's always stuff that's up. So always look up, always be climbing, climb everything, climb everywhere you possibly can. And even more importantly, you need to be climbing because you need to get your climbing skill up, which I learned the hard way, because if you don't get your climbing skill up, you're not going to be able to climb in future areas that you're going to need to get to level.
Now that we can't exploit triple Windstrider, then we can just Spider-Man to a wall and let the climbing skill work for us.
Yeah, that was
You could just
broken.
literally sit there and it would gain level. You could go away from your computer for 3 hours and you'd be at max climb, and your Windstrider, your triple Windstrider, would never lose anything. It was great.
The kids don't know how good we had it back in the day.
RIP triple Windstrider. He'll forever be in my heart. Well, my top 5, or my number 5, is money is meaningless. No one is going to sell you anything. Don't even OOC it. Just see if someone will make it, or have the item, like if it's some rare item, but be ready to trade some high-end items. If you don't have a 5 feather spell on you, or the haste cloak, or whatever high-end items are going at the time, don't expect to just buy a haste cloak. That's never going to happen. You're going to need to have something to trade because the money is worthless. There's nothing to spend the money on.
You're going to need to be camping that stuff.
Exactly. Do it yourself, or just don't even put it in the OOC. I don't want to see it.
It personally offends Dymlos when you OOC to buy something for money. Okay. All right.
If I see it, I'm going to rat you out. Just if you OOC want to buy a haste cloak, I'm going to say something real nasty to you and you're not going to like it. Just kidding. I'm not that evil, but just don't do it. It's stupid. It's a waste of your time and a waste of your finger strength.
Perfect. Number 4, group up. It's a group game. You should be grouping. Stop playing a solo rogue. Stop playing even the summoner.
What is this, EverQuest?
Even the summoner. You need to be in a group. You need to be forming groups. It doesn't have to be a full group of 6. Like groups of 2s and 3s are really, really good at XPing, especially like in the early levels, like boars and bats and stuff like that. Get in a small little group and go around and just trash stuff. It's way better than solo XPing.
Spiders, maybe Manor is the first times you really need a 6-person group, 5 or 6-person group. But yeah, exactly like Draq said, 2-3 people in a group is going to get you just great XP because the early levels are easy. My number 4 is strengthen your pinky finger. And this is because your pinky needs to be holding down your shift button because you're going to be sprinting all the time. That it is so important that you get used to just constantly holding sprint, because not only is it your sprint or your shift button, but because not only is it sprint, but it's also the way you cast your utility. So if you push shift 1, that's how you cast your utility bar. So get real good at your pinky finger strength.
I use shift for run in all other games, even though it does nothing. It's so annoying.
Oh yeah, there's no getting used. Once you're used to it, once you've played it for 3 hours, it's. And how many times in every other game have we just like, where's my sprint button? And even EQ2 has a sprint button, but it's not attached to shift, right? So you have to like click the shift button, and that's not good. I guess you could put it to a macro, but it's not my shift button, which is real easy.
And can I say that EQ2 run feels horrible? Like it's on a long cooldown, and it's like it doesn't make you that much faster. It's awful.
I mean, and it uses your power, right? Like you don't have a separate bar like you do in Pantheon that you have the stamina bar, right? It's literally wasting your mana if you are sprinting.
Pantheon is the Cadillac of running for every MMO forward. This is what I want.
100% agree.
Number 3, rough maps. While Pantheon itself doesn't have an M button that gets you an in-game map, even a rough one, there are rough maps rough maps that are available throughout the community. So you can check our Discord. I'm sure there's some on the official Discord. You can look around. You can ask me. I'll get you some rough maps. But you need to kind of have an idea. Even me, who's always lost, you kind of need to have an idea of where you're going sometimes. So make sure you get some of those maps, or at least know where you can find them, so you're not totally lost like me and just forced to follow people around like me.
I mean, you get lost in tunnels, one-way tunnels. It's not good. Make sure you got one. My number 3, you got to remember that this game, when it launches, will have a death penalty, and do not get accustomed to your reckless play that you are doing right now in the testing. You do not want to run into Mad Run at level 17 just to see the spiders, because it doesn't matter if you die. That's great. That's great for now. But if you do that when the game launches, you're going to have a bad time. You're going to be level 17 forever or less, because you're never going to get out of XP debt. And eventually the XP debt catches up to you. You can have a little XP debt and it doesn't affect you. But after a while, when your death penalty bar goes max and you continue to die, that's when you're now losing some XP. So it gives you a little buffer. But once you're there, you're screwed, and now you're losing time that you've put in the game, and you don't want that.
I mean, even now, without the death penalty, the body runs, they take a while, right? It's annoying, and it takes a while for you to get reformed. It's still a penalty even now when you die.
It'll just be worse. Can't wait.
Can't wait. All right, well buffs. Get your buffs. Everybody come get your buffs. The well is the new tunnel. For those of you that played EQ, that's where you go. Everybody buffs you. Sometimes there's people selling stuff, but the most important thing is, as a low-level character, shaman buffs and cleric buffs and even enchanter buffs are extremely powerful for you. So if you go to the well, all you have to do is just sit there, and eventually there's going to be people that run by. They're going to do drive-by buffs, and you're going to stack buffs. And then you go out and you adventure. You wait till those buffs wear off, and then you come back to the well and you get more buffs. This is an extremely efficient way to get levels quickly.
For sure. With the tiny amounts of stats that we've got, even a +1 is a ton.
It's huge.
So absolutely, if you can get a level 20 cleric buff or level 20 from anything at the well, just snag it if you can. If someone's going to shout out buffs in 2 minutes, you start making your way to that well and get those buffs. It's that important. My number 2, it's the same as Drax's number 4, whichever one you said was grouping. I'm pretty sure you said number 4.
It's 4.
Bring at least one friend, preferably 5. This is not a game that you can solo. You are, again, going to have a bad time if you plan on soloing all the way to 50. You can't even solo past 10, really. It's just not going to be good for you. I guess you could, but damn, it's going to be like that World of Warcraft episode of South Park where you're just killing boars until level 1 boars till you hit 50, and it'll take you 7 years to do. That's fine if that's what you want to do, but yeah, just if you can recruit a friend with you to play this game, even one friend, it's going to be exponentially easier for you. Bring a friend.
And funner. It's going to be more fun.
Funner. You're ridiculous.
My number
we just
one,
lost 7 subs from that.
I'm sure we did. My number 1 Pantheon tip or trick is interrupt. Almost every class has an interrupt. You need to be using it. You need to be interrupting mobs, spellcasting, and or skills, because it is so important. The mobs have devastating skills that you do not want to mess with. They put bombs on the ground. They reflect spell damage. Like the pressure plate will absolutely wreck your entire group. But if you in the group can interrupt the pressure plate, so it never gets cast, you are going to be doing your group a huge bonus. They will probably never know it. You'll be the unsung hero. Interrupt. It's so key.
I feel stupid because this should absolutely be on my list, and it's not. So my mistake for not putting it there, but
I got you, bro.
I appreciate that. That's the key to Pantheon. If you're not interrupting stuff, then you're losing. You have lost the game. And that's sad for you. Some classes don't get it, like, the cleric doesn't get an interrupt, but we found out after, maybe this is a little bit of a glitch or not as intended, but the cleric barrier, if the bats do it or the ghouls are siphoning life in, your barrier can block that. It absorbs barrier, and so it doesn't heal. So there are ways around it. Even if you don't have an interrupt, there might be a way. Figure it out. Nobody knows. Nobody knows how to play this game yet. So try all your stuff, especially interrupts. Number one for me, and this is by far the most important thing, even more important than interrupts, do not get attached to your character. There are going to be wipes. I am so tired of hearing people beg Joppa, beg Savania, please don't wipe our characters. Can we set up another server so our characters stay on the server and so all our work isn't just wiped away? No, this is a test. This is pre-alpha or pre-release or whatever the fuck you want to call it. You cannot save your characters. They're all broken. They're for testing purposes only. You don't get to keep it. They're never going to say yes. So just, again, stop wasting your finger strength and stop typing this stuff to the devs. They don't want to hear it. They're never going to do it. There's never going to be a situation where they say yes to this. So just stop. Don't get attached. Know your characters are going to get wiped. End of list.
But Dymlos, I spent 75 hours a week for the last 6 months leveling my character and making sure I had all the best stuff for myself and my friends. You're saying that's going to be wiped?
Yes. We thank you for your service, Draq. We appreciate the man hours that you put into testing this game, making it better for everybody. That's what we're all doing. But yes, it's going to be gone. It will never be here again. Our 27, 28 level characters that we've got right now are going to be gone in 6 weeks. That's just how it is. Get used to it.
Unless your name is Gulo Gulo and you won the river race, everything is gone.
And all he gets is the 5 fingers. He just doesn't have to do a really crappy camp. That's great. You don't get your characters.
All right, Dymlos. Number 156. In the bag. 3-point, no look, off the backboard. Swish.
Nothing but net. Woo, woo, woo.
I'm Michael Jordan. You're Larry Bird.
I would be the hick from French Lick. Yeah. Larry Bird. I mean, I'm a big Pacer fan, so I'm totally fine with that.
No. We can't talk sports ball. People will unfollow.
Oh, I hate basketball. Sport ball bad. Appreciate everyone coming, though. It really means a lot that you are being here with us. It's this is an important thing for the community, and we felt it needed to keep going, so we appreciate everyone for being here.
Thanks, everybody, for coming. We will see you next week. Have a great week, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.